Yo, what's up, everyone? It is the Beast Brian London. Welcome back to the Real Ones Canes podcast. My co-host, Brandon O'Doy, is on assignment tonight. So it's just me, which means you're in store for something good, I'm sure. For some reason, I don't have any Pepto Bismol with me, but if I did, I would be gulping. Meanwhile, can you do me a favor before we get into this? Listen, if you're watching this on YouTube or you're seeing this video somewhere, you have to subscribe to the podcast. Go wherever you get podcasts. And maybe you've never listened to a podcast and you're still listening to AM radio. You're the one. Literally, it's only one. They're all going bankrupt. But go find a podcast somewhere. If you have an iPhone, Apple has a little app. It's called Podcast. You hit the purple thing. If you have a Droid, you can go to Amazon or Spotify or anywhere you get podcasts and just look up the Real Ones Canes podcast. It's the Beast Brian London. It's Brandon O'Doy. We bring you an amazing Canes podcast before every Canes game on like a Thursday, and then after the Canes game, we either record it or do it from the field. And we bring you spectacular information and analysis. Trust me. And we have not been wrong very much this year. So go find the podcast. All right, let's get to this. The Miami Hurricanes just laid what should have been an egg, basically, against NC State. They scored 6 points. Now, NC State has a good defense, as does Miami. But they're not the 85 freaking Bears or the Purple People Eaters or the Killer Bees or one of the great college defenses of all time. They have given up a few points this year, and to not get into the end zone once in a college football game against a team that is not going to win the national title is unfreaking acceptable. Do you hear me? Do you see me? It's unacceptable not to score a damn touchdown. Now, what's the reason they didn't score? Oh, could it be the fourth-year quarterback throwing it to the other team or fumbling or just literally freaking falling down? Yes. Could it be horrible play calling that literally I knew what was coming every play? Yes. It was all of that. And more. Was it horrible clock management by the head coach again? 1,000%. Defense played lights out. And yes, James Williams had brain farts down the stretch, and there were some mistakes. But the defense played well enough for you to win. You just literally can't play offense, evidently. Nothing. No creativity at all. I don't know who tweeted it. Whether it was Will Manso or Riz McGiz or somebody on the Twitter machine, on the X machine, tweeted that the Dolphins have Mike McDaniel with an offense that's somewhere out of the 2030s, and Miami is ESPN Classic 1991. Well, no, because in 1991, Dennis Erickson had a pretty high scoring offense. So, no, it wasn't. But I get the reference, ESPN Classic. I get it. I don't understand. I sat here all day and watched nonstop college football, flipping stations, good games, bad games, every kind of game. If freaking Rutgers can figure out how to run a freaking fake brotherly shove, tush push, fumble Ruski against Ohio State, certainly Miami can diagram something that can pick up some yardage. No? 4th and 1, and you're lined up in the shotgun, and you call a timeout, and then you run the same play you were going to run before the timeout. I don't understand. I don't freaking understand. No, I get it. All the Oregon people are laughing right now. We told you Mario was a horrible game day coach. We told you. Yeah, okay. We get it. But to this extent? Somebody on Twitter just tweeted, just before I started recording, that we're looking to see if Tyler Van Dyke has an account on FanDuels. Because, I don't know what else can explain the ineptitude. I hope there's some sort of scandal somewhere, because at least that would explain it. This makes no sense. I get it. He's hurt. He's got a bad leg. He's got a bad hand. I get all of that. But you can't come up with anything to score more than 6 points? Like, the worst of the... Like, UMass can score 6 points. Like, bad teams score 6 points. Like, horrible, bad, just the worst of the worst teams score 6 points. It's college football. The offenses are better than the defenses. Unless you're playing, Georgia on their best day. I don't freaking understand it. Make it make sense. You can't. You can't make it make sense. You can't make it make sense. You literally cannot play college football and have a bad quarterback, a bad offense coordinator, and a bad head coach and still only score 6 points. Like, you would luck your way into a touchdown in college football. I don't get it. I'm angry. I'm not just upset or sad or beaten down or depressed. I'm effing angry. I have not been this angry since Al Golden got absolutely throttled by Clemson. At least we got a new coach after that. We ain't getting a new coach. And let me tell you what, I don't think we're getting a new starting quarterback at Florida State either. As much as I think you needed to make a change tonight and play Emory, could it be worse? You cannot, I'm sorry, there's nothing logical about starting a freshman quarterback in Tallahassee against Florida State. There's nothing logical about it. Yes, Tyler's been the worst of the worst of the worst. But he's still going to start. That's what's going to happen. Because that's what the book says to do. I mean, they can't come up with a creative play call. You think they're going to start a freshman in Tallahassee against Florida State? You think suddenly we're going to find balls? We are finding no balls. We are eunuchs. There are no balls here. Ah! It's so damn frustrating. Just so frustrating. It's like a curse. I can't even speak. Like, there's someone with the voodoo doll somewhere. I don't understand. Whatever we've been watching for the last 15 years is not Miami Hurricanes football. Someone took the program that we loved and shoved it in a closet somewhere, and this is some sort of stunt double. I'm convinced. There's no other explanation. There just isn't. By the way, on a side note, can you imagine if it was the University of Miami that had sent some analyst to opposing stadiums to go film hand signals? Can you imagine what the NCAA and the FBI and literally, I'm pretty much convinced that if the University of Miami were being accused of that, like, the Department of Interior would be involved. Like, every federal department would be involved in this investigation. To the point where I'm pretty sure if it was the University of Miami that had pulled off allegedly what Michigan had pulled off, that every person that walks on the Coral Gables campus would get a full body cavity search by some federal official. Like, that's what would happen. Because, of course, Miami. Sorry, I digress. I'm just angry right now. I don't know what else to say. It's mind-boggling. The alcohol that I was consuming wasn't enough tonight. Completely sober now, despite the alcohol I have consumed. It has done nothing. It is literally like I was drinking water. That's how angry I am. By the way, my Uber driver, because I'm a smart person and did not drive home drunk, my Uber driver, who didn't speak a word of English, which is fine with me. It doesn't really matter. Follow the directions on their phone. My Uber driver must think that he just drove a psychopath home, because the words that were coming out of my mouth in the Uber car as I was scrolling through Twitter on the way home definitely were not G-rated. But I gave him a big tip because he didn't interrupt me. He didn't say anything. He just let me go. Props to you, Mr. Uber driver. Props to you, sir. Did I get this right? Did the first question asked to Tyler Van Dyke in the postgame locker room by the team broadcast team people was like, "How is Mark Fletcher?" No. Again, totally, I digress. I just can't. I don't know what's going on down there. Great. 3 games left. You think they're going to be favored in one of them? Nope. You feel confident they're going to win any of them? Nope. Going to go to a bad bowl game and lose? Probably. Good chance. Did you waste an amazing offensive line and 4 deep at running back and 3 really good wide receivers and probably a couple more that aren't even seeing time? Maybe four good wide receivers and probably a few more that aren't seeing time? Waste a really good defense, if not great defense? Yep, totally wasted. 6-win team. Yep, totally. Deep breaths. Deep breaths, everybody. Just inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Nope, still effing angry. This team has no balls. All right. The dogs are angry at me. They're just barking. So I'm going to wrap this thing up. Do me a favor. Please go subscribe to the podcast, The Real Ones Canes podcast. If you're watching the YouTube channel, subscribe here. If you're listening to the podcast, go subscribe to the YouTube channel and vice versa. See how that goes? We subscribe, we like, we put nice comments, we put thumbs up, and then Beast can pay the electric bill. Yay! My partner Brandon and I will be back. You'll hear us Thursday. We'll preview Miami and Florida State. That and more comes your way next time, right here on the Real Ones Canes podcast.